I want to eliminate that. I want to make Watts into a power city. I want to make Crenshaw into a power city. I want to make South Central into a power city. I want to change people's lives. I just don't want to show up when it's election. Foreigners are coming in and buying the liquor stores. The Asians are running it, the Indians, and they don't even live in that area. And so I said to myself, wait a minute. When you guys have celebrations to go out to dinner, where do you guys go? They said, we go to Denny's. This is the real answer to your question. This city is backwards, right? Because they and I understand we have to take care of the homeless people because it's a mental health situation. But the city is putting them in downtown LA penthouses, beautiful apartments, meaning the homeless are not working, right? They have mental health issues and they're putting them in luxurious apartments in downtown LA, right? I said, what? This city is so backwards. Billions of dollars spent. I'm telling you, the city could buy empty lots. There is nothing pretty much rapidly developing in Los Angeles. Everything is dying. People are moving out. If you go around every block, it says for lease, for lease, for lease. You know what I'm saying? So right now, this city is dying and it's on its knees. They prioritize on homeless more than the working class in Los Angeles. This city is backwards. In Watts, where those people that showed me around the projects, the area, they have smiles, but I know they're suffering. They say the rent's too high, everything's too expensive. I'm gonna be real honest here. These politicians, they suck. They do. They don't. They say one thing, but they don't do it. There is no change.
Yep. hmm Big is talking to potentially the next LA mayor.
Let me go. What? Let me go. Woo. What? What?
You see my guy here, you know, he's going to I think I believe well, let me not speak for him. I would like for him to speak for himself. Now, let me correct one thing though. Did I say your name right?
You did. You did. You said it right. You actually said it actually perfect. Very perfect, actually. Really,
Wow.
really good. Yeah,
Okay.
really great.
Okay. Misael, okay.
Uh
Okay.
huh. That's it.
Well, oh, wow. Wow. So I may have some questions. I may not have some questions. We may just go with the flizzo and see how this conversation gives up. You dig? Pretty much where you from, where were you raised, what was family like. Look, man, some people be like, yeah, I come from this hard lifestyle. I come from this place. And they say these things, right, in ways to appeal to the working class,
Mm.
right? This show is all about fair turn out the bull, right? The gas mask
Right.
strike show. Most people don't, well, most politicians don't understand that. Like they don't understand that where they come from a lot of the time does not or resonate with the working class or with the people that have like literally keep the blood thriving through America, right?
Right.
And that sometimes can be convoluted in a way. So I'm not saying that there are no politicians out there that haven't came from the struggle, right? I'm not saying that because there are so many politicians in our country. But from your standpoint, I just wanted to kind of like set the ground.
Mm. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you, Biz, for having me here. It's such an honor, and I also want to thank Cindy, my publicist, for
Yes,
connecting
yes.
us.
Oh, we got to give
Uh,
Cindy. Shout out to Cindy. Hold
and
on one second. I'm sorry. I gotta be a dummy. Shout out, Cindy. Shout out, Cindy.
Cindy is sending to me is very special. She sees people and gives people opportunities, and that not everybody has. And I just can't take that for granted. So I'm very
Mhm.
blessed by having Cindy and connecting us together, Biz. So I really appreciate that so much from her and you.
Yeah.
So thank you
Yes.
so much for
Oh,
that.
hey, man. No, we thank you. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Now to answer, I guess, your question. So this is unfiltered, this is unscripted, this is raw. Let's get to it because, at the end of the day, this is we have a lot of serious stuff going on in Los Angeles, and we just want to get straight to the point. No BS. Let's get to the point. So my name is Misael Ortega, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm pretty much from West LA, not West Hollywood, because some people get it confused when I mention West LA. So I am from West LA, Culver City, Marina Del Rey, Santa Monica, Palisades. That's all my area. Those are my stepping grounds, and so that's where I'm from originally. My dad, I come from a blue collar family, which is, I guess more in the labor work, right? Some of the stuff that my dad taught me when I was young is always have respect, and always have, um, I guess, how can I say it? Have the respect to work with all different types of people. Doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, wherever you come from, right? Always have the same respect that you want because it's given back. So my dad is a blue collar contractor from Culver City, and he's been a contractor for about almost 25 years. He's been a contractor for 25 years in West Los Angeles.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so I understand by seeing what I see here, where it says Ortega painting,
Hmm.
and I see that that matches up with what you're saying. That matches up with who you genuinely are. That's why I was talking earlier about how most politicians would say they're part of that, but then their name tag right here would say, you know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
so those are the things that I look at. I think it's the things around people. So how is this going to affect your family being a politician going into this before we get all deep and crazy? Let's just talk about the normal stuff. How you
Well,
think this going to go ahead?
well, what we're doing is a legacy, right?
Hmm.
My father, my father wasn't born in this country. My father was born in Mexico,
Right.
and I guess uh, I just want to be raw and unfiltered. So my father was born in Mexico, and he was a Marine in Mexico, a soldier, and his job was to burn marijuana against the drug lords in Mexico. That was his job. It was his job was to burn the weed and all that stuff back in the, I guess, 80s. And in the 80s it was a little rough. It was kind of more radical, right? And a little bit
Yeah.
more like
Yeah.
kingpins, right?
Right.
So
Right. Right.
as soon as my dad did his time in Mexico, because when the country called, he served honorably. He pretty much said, you know what, I have enough of this, and I want to go to the United States. So him and my mom came to the United States, and then that's when my dad, as when he was maybe 30, he set foot in Los Angeles, in West Los Angeles, and that's when he started his own painting company called Ortega Painting. So he named his painting after his last name, Ortega Painting, and
Wow.
he was one of, out of, I guess, when you, and my father said in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a lot of work in construction. So obviously, you didn't have internet, you didn't have no websites, you probably had a pager, or if you knew like a contractor from a friend, you would get referral and start working with contractors back then. So my dad met up with a friend in Los Angeles, and him and my dad would stand in a corner in Marina Del Rey and just wait until a general contractor or a landlord or somebody would come and would offer a job, just like people in Home Depot, right? People stand in Home Depot to look for work, but it wasn't Home Depot, it was in the street in Marina Del Rey, and it was like a very popular area. And that's how
Mm.
my dad began to learn how to paint, because he met people there and they took him to learn how to paint, and next thing you know, he started learning how to paint, and he, I guess, created a Ortega painting. So um my dad, I when I was little, I was privileged because, mind you, Marina Del Rey. It don't get better than Marina Del Rey growing up in Los Angeles, right? Marina Del Rey, Santa Monica, like, come on, that's. I had a babysitter at the time, so having a babysitter in Marina Del Rey. So my dad would. I remember my dad always. He afforded this because he would work every day, Monday through Sunday, and so there would be times where I would be with my babysitter, me and my twin brother. I have a twin brother. We would be with our babysitter, and I guess our babysitter had also kids she was looking out for.
Hmm.
And I remember all the dads and moms from the kids were picking up, them at the babysitter home. But my dad would be the last. And it would be like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night. And my babysitter would say, well, they can sleep over. And my dad said, no, I'm taking my kids to my house in Culver City or apartment in Culver City, and
Mm.
every night it was like that from 8 o'clock in the morning all the way to 9 at night. And my dad, was taking the bus, going to work and coming back. And I remember my dad picking me up as a baby, in the shoulder on the bus ride. And so these are the memories that I adored with my dad. But he's the kind of generation that works every day, and he wears the same clothes, the same painting white clothes. He doesn't want to go out to dinner. He doesn't want to go to Rodeo. He doesn't, he just wants to work. And so he's gone from 8 o'clock, comes back at 7. He's been doing it for almost 25 years, 20 years. And I admire that from him. But he's still, Ortega Painting is still active right now. But I kind of changed the name a little bit since, I'm the next in line.
Right. And I mean, you're the next to, I mean, you're the heir to inherit the kingdom. Those are qualities I believe people need to see. Like, I had money, my dad had money. Like, you didn't say those things, right? You didn't mention this financial view. Oh yeah, I was riding Lamborghinis when I was 4. You know what I mean?
Right.
It could get pretty absurd, and I like that because
Thank you.
most people can see when they start hearing that, they be like, "Oh yeah, just bullshit." You know what I mean? I don't want to. I don't want to. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
what was school like for you?
School was beautiful. I had a really great time in school. And, I remember my babysitter always taking us. And the school that we went to was Short Avenue. It was in Marina Del Rey. So we had the beautiful weather. We had a really great city. We would, instead of having yellow buses, we would have like city buses, and we would, every, I guess maybe once a week we would go to field trips. And other schools, they didn't have that. Maybe like once a month they would go to a field trip, but we would have it every week. So I guess my position when I was little, it was really wonderful and it was amazing. And it's kind of crazy because I have no contact with nobody from elementary, which is kind of, I mean,
Mm.
elementary is, you're growing up, you get to see people you spent for 5 years, but no.
Right, right, right,
So no, it
right,
was real
right.
beautiful weather, beautiful school, beautiful academic, and it was a blessing for sure, 100%.
Wow. So you graduated high school from.
Yeah. So, my dad lived in Culver City, but our babysitter was located in Marina Del Rey. So as soon as my dad would go to work, he would drop us off in Marina Del Rey, and then when he would come
Mm,
back, we would come back to Culver City. So Culver City is my hometown, my stepping grounds,
right.
Culver City. So I
Okay.
graduated from Culver City High School. Yep. Location of where I'm at in Culver City would be downtown Culver City, which is
Mm,
it's always been spectacular. The Sony Studios, the Culver Hotel, the MGM. I mean, this is
mhm.
Hollywood here. Culver City, nobody knows this, but Culver City was the first um, MGM studio lot where they would film like I Love Lucy, King
Yeah,
Kong,
sure was.
Batman, like
Yep,
Gone with the
yep.
Wind.
Culver City, right over. Yep.
Cul-
Sure
Culver
right.
City is the original Hollywood, and
Yeah.
then you got Burbank, and then you got Panorama, right? I'm sorry. What's the studios over there on Palms? I don't know what the studio is, but either way, Culver City, the city of my city, is called the heart of the screenland because it is the heart of where everything started in film wise, in Culver City. So where I'm at, it's really well preserved. It's because of the studios, but maybe go a little bit upper in the like in Braddock, you'll see a little. Culver City, it does have its own projects as well. So I don't want to say that's like all tied up, but it just has
Oh, I
little
know.
projects. Yeah,
Oh, I know.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I used to work over there a lot, and
Oh, there. Oh, okay, perfect. So you know that. Yep,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
I would teach over there. I would teach at Culver City Elementary, the Blue Ribbon School over there.
Oh, no way.
And
That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, my daughter actually went attended Culver City Elementary. She was writing full sentences in kindergarten, bro. It was weird, bro. I was like, what the hell? But how'd you get into it? I want to know how'd you get into politics?
Originally, my father is a painting contractor, and the company's called Ortega Painting. So
Okay.
there was a period of time where my dad got a big offer in Palisades, and I remember the offer was maybe around $35,000 to paint a home in Palisades. $35,000 to paint inside of a home,
Okay.
and like maybe 8 years ago, in his mind, it was a lot of money 8 years ago. But in reality, we realized that we were being taken advantage. I was being taken advantage because The homes in Palisades, Beverly Hills, Bel Air, they already have a price tag. And to paint homes inside in these areas,
Hmm.
we're going up to 80,000 to 120,000. So my dad
Yeah.
kind of my dad wasn't really good at doing invoices and estimates. So I had to. So I remember when the general contractor said, which is my dad's name is Angel. Angel, do you want to take this job for 25,000? And my dad said, no, I want 35.
Mm.
So I guess, and during the time, we're just starting up these, high end homes, but my dad didn't want to take it. He didn't want to take it. So I decided, you know what? I'm not going to lose $35,000 on the table. So I
Mm.
made a decision. I signed the paperwork and I took the job in Palisades. And that's when my first job ever in Palisades was, in that area. And I met a lot of great people. I met a lot of mentors, and the fires happened recently in Palisades, and that's when I decided that maybe it was time for me to run for office because I saw my city burn down. The homes that I painted in Palisades, that's 6 years, 7 years, that home that was burned down. After that, I did multiple homes in Palisades, but Palisades to me was the American dream. It was a beautiful community, and I was there. I was there moving my mentors. We were moving the cars. We were moving the dogs, the animals, and everything was on fire. So that motivated me to run for office. And then it was the ICE raids, the immigration. That was another key factor because we work with migrants. We work. I'm guilty. We work with migrants in our
You're
company,
not, you're
and
not
so.
guilty.
Huh?
You're not guilty. I have no court to put anybody in jail.
Well, I want to
You're all
admit it
good.
because I don't want to hide anything from the public. Like these people that work in Beverly Hills, Bel Air, these are all migrant people, and most of them they're all from Guatemala, El Salvador, and Mexico. And right now, as we speak, there is no more Mexican Americans working in construction anymore. It's all Guatemalans because they're taking now the cheaper labor in construction. So if you go to a construction job site, you will see now Guatemalans. You won't see Mexicans anymore. And so that's what's going on right now in construction. And these people work so hard. I have so much respect for them. And for me to see ICE take them away, take the vulnerable people, that was just a tipping tone for me. The fires in Palisades and then taking the immigrants, that's what made me run for office in Los Angeles.
Oh, well, you're right. And about what you're saying about ICE and things like that. And I'm glad that inspired you to run for office, but some people will say, hey, man, they are, because they're here, we have to pay higher taxes in California. What do you say to that?
It's it's I'm with you in a certain way, but I'm not because and I know very well if you had a family, right, you would do everything you can in your power to come to a place where you can feed your family, have an opportunity of the American dream, right? You would do
Hmm.
everything you can in your power. And so what these people are doing is escaping poverty, communism, pretty much death, just to come over here and take care of their family, give them the opportunity that didn't have. And I think that can be relatable to anybody. I think anybody would do the same. But I let me just point this out. I am a Democrat moderate, so I love this, the flag behind me. I am very patriotic. I do believe in laws. So it is for me 50-50. But
Right.
I still believe that we should give these people opportunities for the American dream because this is the American dream, right? There's no other place in this country but this country. So
And let's just say I'm playing devil's advocate.
sure.
Let's just say, and I respond to that and say, well, if it causes us increasing taxes for Medi-Cal and all these other incentives so that they could be able to live in order to find a job, right? With government assistance, which
Mhm.
causes the people in the community to pay higher
Mhm.
taxes, the working class. Would you say that's fair?
Well,
Um,
let's break the stereotype. Immigrants are not allowed to collect any kind of medical because you need Social Security. You need some kind of real ID to get these benefits, right? And so let's be honest, they don't have any Social Security. So I don't understand how they can even get free anything from the government.
my mother-in-law,
Hmm.
was came from El Salvador during the I guess there was the guerrilla war out there or whatever.
Mhm.
And she I came here. I believe she came here in the 70s, I believe.
Mhm.
And she had my wife, right? And my wife first generation here.
Mhm.
Years later, my mother-in-law ended up becoming a citizen.
Mm.
Um, her husband ended up becoming a citizen. His brother ended up becoming a citizen. Her sisters end up becoming citizens. Like the
Mm.
whole family, right? And this is something me personally, right? This is not no devil's advocate, just me. When I would see the people coming in and during Biden and Kamala's administration, I saw how the floodgates were open,
Mm.
right? And I've never seen nothing like that ever. Like I've never seen. Now I understand people escaping, to seek a better life as far as sovereignty because your
Right.
country is in war right now, right? I understand that, but what I didn't understand how there were like parades of people coming to the border, and we're not talking about just Latinos. I don't like when people always make Latinos the poster child of it,
Right.
because I don't think the immigration just has to deal with Latinos. I think it has to deal with a whole group of different nationalities of people who are at the border.
Well, I just want the audience to know the specific types of immigrants that were here 20 years ago compared to the new ones that just came in. Two
Okay.
different types of people.
Yeah,
The
I
the people
believe
that
you.
the
I'm
people
with
that
you.
came 20 years ago, they didn't ask for no handouts. They didn't really, when they got sick, they paid out of their pocket, right? And these people were proud to work every day. They were proud to learn the language. They were proud to adapt to the country. And so that is who I, strongly have feelings for, uh,
Mhm.
because these people sacrificed during a time when it was needed. Now, the people that recently just came, that's a whole different story here. That's a
Right.
whole different
Right.
story, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, and
Okay.
these people come from Venezuela, they come from Colombia, Cuba, and you have to understand that these countries are very communist countries, and so they're not really going to adapt to
Assimilate. Right.
American
Right.
laws,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
And so I just want to make sure the audience know that there's two different types of immigrants, right? That being said, I think Joe Biden should have taken care of the people that were already here 25 years ago that already has family. Maybe those should have been taken care of first. And then we can probably decide if we want to open the gate for other people, right? And so that's now once that is being set, right? Now let me be realistic here, right? I think it should always be American first. When like Karen Bass, what she's doing right now is she's did a state of emergency for immigrants because they're being taken by ICE agents. Other families are
Mhm.
being infected. So she gave them, I guess, some kind of almost like a welfare card where they can buy groceries and stuff like that because they didn't want to come out. That
Exactly.
should have been for American people. That should have been for the homeless people. That should have been for the African Americans, all the Mexican Americans here in this country that are suffering. You know, all that money should have been for that. Not
Or give it to the ones that were already here at least. You
right,
know what I mean?
right,
Like fuck.
right,
Like come
right,
on. You know what I
right.
mean? Like
No, absolutely. I'm with you 100%.
yeah.
I'm with you 100% on that. We can both agree on that. And I think
But
right now, which is
I'm not taking away from the ones that are here and that's trying to seek better. But I don't want to take anything from them. But if I'm going to do anything for immigration, I'm going to say, well, let me take care of the ones that's been put it in the work for the past 20
25, 30
30
years.
years.
Exactly.
Right,
25, 30 years.
right,
Right,
right.
right,
And then I'll get to the ones that are coming now, if they should be here or not. Right.
right,
And that's the
right.
thing that I kept telling a lot of people. Like, if I go to another country, they kicking my ass out.
Oh, you're
They're
good.
not letting me. I'm good. You know what I mean? Literally,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah.
What's your administration long-term vision for for transforming Los Angeles into a global creative and innovative capital beyond Hollywood?
That's a great question. First of all, before we even get to that topic, we need to eliminate all employees at City Hall, everybody, and start from the beginning. That's number one.
Wow.
This is why I call it a new era of LA. That's a slogan, a new era of LA, because we want to start from scratch, brick by brick, right? And so we want to bring the top of the top young generation into City Hall, right? And so
Mm,
that's before we even begin a vision, that's what we're going to do first. There's a lot of pork at City Hall. We got to get rid of that. Once we get rid of that, we bring the innovation, we bring the young. We have to. Why? Because we want to compete against Texas. We want to compete against Florida. These states are killing us right now, not
mm,
just in the home, not in the house crisis, but like technology. I think right now, from my understanding, they're building in Dallas, Texas, a second Wall Street. You know, New York has one, but now they're building another second Wall Street entity in Dallas because the state is booming with economy. It's amazing in Dallas, and so Los Angeles is on its knees right now. Everything is just falling apart right now. The city hall doesn't know what the hell they're doing. They're backwards right now.
mm,
They're backwards, and so we need young people. We need a young vision, and we're tired of, oh, I want to. I'm gonna do something for you. I want to change the city. Let me come to your city. Election day is tomorrow. No, we're done with that. I want to see politicians come tomorrow or the next day to make a difference, not just to say it. And
mm.
so that's where I'm coming from. We got to wipe out City Hall first, brick by brick.
And what would be the innovative capital beyond Hollywood? Like, what would be the global and innovative way you would exceed Los Angeles wealth beyond Hollywood?
Well, as you're aware right now, AI is taking over. Besides the film industry, AI and tech companies are taking over. I think there's a lot of them in San Francisco. We want to put some in Los Angeles, and and here's the best part. I
Mm,
want to bring AI technology into the poorest areas in Los Angeles, like Watts, South Central. I want to make these communities, be known for tech companies. Why isn't there any tech companies in these communities? Why is that? I don't know. Well, maybe it's because it's politics. Maybe because they're afraid of the city. Why isn't there, let's say a construction kind of entity in these poor cities? You know what I'm saying? And so
mm,
construction to me is a booming innovation in Los Angeles that people should really think about because that's where the money is. If you graduate from high school, you have two options. You're either going to go to college or you're going to get a job, a 9 to 5. And so I think construction to me is very important to install that in Los Angeles,
mm.
for everybody to have an opportunity. But yeah,
Awesome.
so Hollywood is not just the capital. You got AI, you got construction, you got just so much development going on.
Mm. How are you balancing rapid development with preserving the city's culture and historic identity? Want me to repeat that again?
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said. I'm so sorry.
How are you balancing the rapid development with preserving the city's cultural and historical identity?
Well, there is nothing pretty much rapidly developing in Los Angeles.
Mm,
Everything is dying. People are
mm,
moving out. If you go around every block, it says for lease, for lease, for lease. You know what I'm saying? So right now, this city is dying and it's on its knees. And right now, people are either leaving to the south or they're going back to their homeland. They're going to Mexico, and some people are even going to Puerto Rico, right? Because it's more affordable. So I just don't see right now that there is some kind of advance going on in Los Angeles. I think right now everybody's struggling. Jobs are hard to find. The minimum wage doesn't reflect the cost of living anymore. Rent is too much. And so I just don't see it like right now in innovation in Los Angeles that's preserving the culture. I think right now everything is falling apart.
mm. What are your top three measurable outcomes you want Angelinos to see by the end of your term?
I want them to see that they got a good high and paid wages. That's number one. And that their rent was lowered by 65%,
Mm,
right? Because that's what's going to happen. We're going to lower the cost of rent citywide. One of my first executive orders I'm going to do, right? And then we're going to also raise the minimum wage, not 25, not 35. We're going to probably $60 an hour. And I'll tell you why. Because in construction, I think right now the
$60?
wages
You say 60?
$60 an hour.
660.
Yep, 60. Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you why. You ready for this? Because I'm used to this. In construction, we pay people $300 a day, and they only work for 6 hours, and they get free lunch. That's nothing to me. And I'll tell you why. Because again, in construction, you make a lot of money as a general contractor. As a general contractor, you're making about almost $300,000 a year. What is $300 to you in one day? That's nothing. That's pennies for a contractor in construction. So
Hmm.
when I hear minimum wage, $17, $20, that's nothing. That's cheap. That's like poverty level money. That's how I see it. And so if you want to live in Los Angeles, you got to raise the minimum wage. You got to lower the rent, right? And then you can live comfortable. But until then, you're not living comfortable. You know, so
What?
I Mhm.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so I think lower the rent, raise the minimum wage, and there's other factors too. Like we're gonna expunge evictions in credit cards. I'm sorry, evictions on your credit cards, right? Because from what I heard is if you get evicted by a landlord, there's an eviction and stays on your record for 7 years. We're gonna expunge that as well. We're gonna eliminate that as well. I think nobody should be punished when life hits. And then when you want to rent somewhere else, they'll look up and say, "Oh, you have an eviction. You can't move in." I think we're gonna
Now,
eliminate
what
that.
would now is there anything to offset that, right? So if we're getting 40% off of our rent, right? Or I'm sorry, 65% off of our rent, right?
Hmm.
And which leaving the landlords or profit owners, I'm not profit owners, I'm sorry, property owners,
Right.
with leaving them with 40% of that now, which they're going, like you're taking away 65% of their income, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And which makes it lower for the renters and maybe uh, um, mortgages, maybe, right?
Right.
But what does that leave for on the businesses that's now have to take that deficit?
Well,
Is
here's the thing.
there any way to supplement that so they don't have to s
Exactly.
a hard
E-
hit?
Exactly. Look, this is all simple. This is really common sense here, right?
Okay.
You lower the rent for me in my first executive order, and I'm going to reward you. How am I going to reward you? It's very simple. I'm going to shut down Hollywood Boulevard. I'm going to bring a group called Live Nation, which they pretty much support, charity like AIDS and cancer and stuff like that. So instead of doing that, they're going to do it for the city. So we shut down Hollywood Boulevard. We bring Live Nation. We get all the funds from Live Nation, and not the city. I will be in charge. I will build the buildings, right? And we'll cap them at $800 for one bedroom, two bedrooms, 1,200. Now, if the landlords do refuse to lower the rent, then some of the buildings that we already have established, some of that money is going to go to the landlords that actually lower the rent, so they don't lose any money. So now it's almost like they almost have almost equity in some of our buildings. Does that make sense?
Right.
Just because they lower the rent, so pretty much it's a win-win for us and it's a win-win for them. Now, if they refuse, that's a whole different ballgame. Now, that's a whole different ballgame. Now, okay, you don't want to lower the rent for an Angelino to survive? Great. I'm going to send you the general inspector. You know why? You're charging me $4,000 in a location that has potholes on the streets. Maybe it has mold in some of the bathrooms, maybe roaches, right? And you want to
Mhm.
charge me $4,000? I'm going to send a general inspector. And if I'm going to pay $4,000, I better make sure that apartment is safe and conditioned for me and my family 100%.
Mm. So, I think it's great. I mean, because you have a plan to it, Um, I think it's the offsetness, right? I think that's what people get up, because like I said earlier, you're not going to be able to please both parties, right? Both people,
Mhm.
right? Somebody, like you make some good over here, there's something going to fall over here. Make some fall over here, there's something going to rise over. So it's like it's always going to be this weird, unbalanced thing. But I think it's most of when the most is affected, when the majority are affected. I think that's where the effect comes from, because the majority of people now are affected by the decisions you have made as mayor. With the homelessness and housing, with billions already spent on homelessness,
Mm.
with billions already spent on homelessness incentives, what's actually working, and what's being cut because it isn't working?
Well, here's this. This is the real answer to your question. This city is backwards. right? Because they and look, I understand we have to take care of the homeless people because it's a mental health situation, but the city is putting them in downtown LA pin homes, pin houses, beautiful apartments, meaning the homeless are not working, right? They have mental health issues and they're putting them in luxurious apartments in downtown LA, right? So, but the person that makes 25, $30,000 a year, which is poverty level money, they can't even they won't even qualify for an apartment, a regular one bedroom in Los Angeles, because you need to have the credit score and then you need to have like five times the income amount to even qualify for the application, right? This city is backwards. This city is backwards. I think that I think those apartments that downtown bought for the homeless should be for people that are contributing to society, as in paying taxes. You know, if they have part-time jobs, they should be rewarded with those apartments, not the homeless people. The homeless people should be taken care of first. They should look out for their mental health, and once they get help and the things that they need, then you give them in a little job training, and the next thing you know, you can send them off to work. Right? That's how it is. But this city is so backwards. Billions of dollars spent. I'm telling you, the city could buy empty lots. The city can buy empty offices and make them into lots, and you can transform that into like a living situation and bring people to live in there. But again, I just think the city is backwards, and they prioritize on homeless more than the working class in Los Angeles.
Mm. How is the city ensuring? Well, as in this case, how would you, as mayor, how would you ensure? How would you ensure the city's accountability for housing projects and nonprofit partnerships using taxpayer money?
Well, first of all, I'm a negotiator, so I negotiate. I've been a contractor for almost 7 years, and I've dealt with the riches of the rich, right? And I know how they work, and I know they want a lick from some of the deals that we create. But I'm a negotiator, and so what I want to do is I'm even thinking this. I'm even thinking going to Saudi Arabia. To be honest with you, as a mayor, I would go to a different country and say, you know what? Because Saudi Arabia is buying sports. I don't know if you're witnessing, but they're buying sports. They're buying a lot of stuff. They got oil money, right? So why not bring those people and have them invest in Los Angeles? I want pretty much my radical thinking is I want to reconstruct downtown LA, and I want to transform it into a city like it's never been done before with their investment, right? Billions of dollars, billions. And mind you, I'm a contractor, so I know what it costs to build a home. I know what it costs. And so, when the city says, "Oh, it's gonna cost $20 million for this and that," no, it doesn't. It doesn't cost $20 million. It costs about maybe what, $200,000 to build a home, $300,000 to build a home. So I don't know where these numbers are coming from, but to answer your question, I would bring investors into Los Angeles and transform Los Angeles into a power city. That's where I believe it should happen.
Is there a way that the a mayor, in your sense, have any cap on the development and like where we like, you know what? Okay, look, we only do so many developments a year. Is that a real thing? Do they do that or no?
You know, it just depends on investors and how
Okay,
much they
okay.
want to put up, how much they want to put their money, right? Because if something sounds good to an investor, then they're willing to spend it. But if it doesn't, then obviously they're not going to spend. And so I guess it just depends on them. They're the ones that control the market right now. They're the ones that decide, do I want to put a 600 unit on this block? Is it safe? What about the location? Is there a school? Is it nice? Are we going to make money? Right? So it just depends on the investor, and how he sees the future of where he wants to plant his seed. But no, I
Okay.
don't think there's a limit to that. I think anybody can put as much as they
Go.
want if they have the money.
Mm,
But
okay.
with me, what I want to do is I want to transfer every empty office that we have now previously and create lofts. And I want to make that into like a housing, because right now we're in a house crisis. Like right now
Hmm.
right now it's so expensive to buy a home these days, and a beat up home in Los Angeles is going to go for 1 million and up, and I think it's ridiculous. Why is it a million? Why is it $1 million? Why does Texas build mansions for 300,000 but LA does it for 1 million? Something is wrong. Something is offset here, right? And I don't want people telling me, "Oh, it's the manufacturers, it's the what Trump just did recently with Canada and all the wood what the tariffs." I
Hmm.
don't want to hear it. because Texas is building homes under $300,000. Florida is building homes under 250,000, and they're amazing. Why is LA? Why does it cost 1 million?
You know they
Right?
say because of our weather and our Hollywood and
Weather,
blah blah
man. You know what it is.
blah.
If we were in Dubai, right, and it was you were charging me 4,000, take it. Go to Dubai. It's really beautiful. It's luxurious. It's like amazing, right?
Yeah,
But
no,
you want
right.
to charge me 4,500 for a beat up place with potholes on the road, right? And and homelessness. I just think it's ridiculous. This I'm telling you, this city is backwards, and we need to power wash it. We need to power wash the city 100%, and let's
Mm,
bring young people in the city so we can make a change. And I'm gonna fire every employee at City Hall just to make a statement.
mm. What do you think that would do? What effect you think that would do?
The effect that I wanted to make,
Okay.
and grab people's attention and say, this is a serious situation here. People are struggling. People are literally debating if I can spend $100 on my wife or on my child's book because they can't make the wages that survival now. Like, it is serious out there. With me is, I look at it different because, again, I've been too privileged to share the same account with my father. So it's like having a black credit card. It's like having a black card. You just swipe it whenever you want, and you don't have to worry about how much money. And so not everybody in America is like that. Not everybody in Los Angeles is like that.
Mm.
Some people make like what, $700 a week, then what, or 1,400 in 2 weeks. Then you got to pay your rent. Then you got to pay your bills. Then you got to pay your personal needs. Right? What do you end up with? Maybe $200.
So, I have something that because I was given this opportunity to speak with someone who may take that seat, right?
Hmm.
And I'm a musician.
Hmm.
This city, now, I've never really seen it though. Musicians, we live a lifestyle like no other.
Hmm.
We live a life like no other,
Hmm.
right? Period. And with that life, our money is not the same as and a person who's working every day at a job. When I go play into a town, not in California, but when I go perform inside Iowa, Texas, or whatever, and they hear that I'm in town, I'm literally bringing money to that town. Why that can't be everywhere? Why it can't just be a normal thing in our place where musicians now? I'm telling you, man. If LA does not snap on this, we're the home of music. We're the home of where real culture come out of. If all of the musicians across the world, man, come here. They come here to become legends. And it's like, why? Because they know they can get into the hottest spots, but it's not multitudes. It's not a genuine thing, and they're not getting paid. We have to pay the promoter.
Wow.
Why do we have to pay the promoter?
Holy smokes. So my question is this. I guess my question is, you are right. We have to capitalize what LA is known for, and it's music, movies, what brings the world to here, right?
Right,
Is
right.
talent, right? And so I think you are right. I think there should be some kind of ball movement where every restaurant should have the opportunity to bring artists and have them perform, because this is Los Angeles. I mean, when I think of LA, I think of entertainment world, I think of film, music. So you are right. I think I wasn't, because I do know when I go to Rodell Drive, I go to Bel Air, they do have like, a violin playing on the corner, or they have like jazz, right? They play the piano. And so at the Culver Hotel as well, in Culver City, at the Culver Hotel, there's a lady there that plays jazz, but it's not common to have artists in restaurants, and I think that's something to be brought up. I think that's very important because think about it, artists, they need to make money as well. You need to survive, right? And so maybe we can somehow figure a plan with the restaurants and say, hey, look, if you bring performers into your restaurant, maybe we can reduce some of your taxes that you pay, in this property, and in return you have performance, and you put them on the W-2, or you can make them as a a
They become
contractor.
employees. I look at it as
Exactly.
employees.
A
Like
1099.
just or just make them an employee. Give them $20 an hour, right? And his job or her job is to come in and perform for
Mm.
about 3 to 4 hours throughout the day. It could be a
And you would get
part-time job.
people. You would get people.
Oh my God, would you get people? You would get more people in there. Why? Because the artist or the performer would be saying, hey, I'm talking like really, Ortega, I'm talking about like some of the simplest restaurant, like Chili's. Yo, I'm going to be at Chili's and blase blase, right? That
Right.
way, now you always have somebody promoting for the restaurant. You always have seats in there because they're going to make
Right.
sure that they're there, and you're always going to have some type of entertainment where people are going to enjoy. Do you understand that brings up your price value up to about 25% on top of what you're doing just by
Wow.
having that? My thing is, if that was a way where they were paying us just like they were paying the bartender, they would keep us all the time. Like
Wow.
we would steady have a job and they would steady have people and we would steady be promoted because now we're incentivized. We're giving a job now. Your job is to entertain, promote, and have great customer service. You are an employee now,
Well,
right?
Biz,
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no, no. This is what I'm saying is that this is why we need to bring the young generation and the tech companies into Los Angeles, because you just pretty much you just gave an idea to your audience and me actually. This is Hollywood, Biz. This is Hollywood. This is where this is why we're at where we're at in our financial statements in Los Angeles, because of the musicians, the artists, the movies, right? We cannot run away from that. We just can't. We gotta give you guys on steroids. Actually, we gotta put you guys on steroids, right? Because you guys are the ones that bring the funds into the city. Again, I think it'd be a really good idea if we create an app and we put all the restaurants in Los Angeles, and whoever restaurants puts in there, they'll get a tax write off. But there should be work every day for artists. There should be
Right,
work every day for actors. It's the capital of the entertaining of the world, and we should stick to that
right,
motto,
right.
right? And so I
And
believe that.
now I want to switch to before we head up out of here.
Yes.
I kind of wanted to delve on the inner city. Um, we was talking. My people told me that. Well, I was talking to them yesterday, and they were telling me um, how you were adamant about changing the look of LA, and
Mm.
you kept mentioning about the renovation of LA, and with being the mayor of LA, that's a tough role, it seems. And I don't want to make this an anti Karen Bass. Me personally, I had a little bit of, like, oh, what? Like, who is she? Why? When? I did a lot of research and I just didn't like it. So that's just my personal view. That does not translate with the audience. That does not translate with anyone else.
Right.
It's my own personal view. Um, I feel Vargosa was cool. You know what I mean? But some people say Vargosa wasn't shit, right? So
You know, I'm gonna be real honest here. These politicians, they suck. They do. They don't. They say one thing, but they don't do it. There is no change. Honestly, to tell you the truth, you don't even feel it.
mm,
Now, I will say this: Maxine Waters, without due respect, from what I heard from Watts, she's done a lot for the community. So that I would give
mhm,
credit, because she has her mural in some areas in Los Angeles. When you have a mural in Los Angeles, that means you're somebody, right? Like Kobe
mhm,
Bryant has a mural in Los Angeles. Maxine Waters has a few in Watts and in Crenshaw. So I
mhm,
have to respect that. But these politicians, they don't do anything. They don't affect me or you, and that's why I'm running, because I want it to affect you. I want it to change you. I want you to see what we're doing. I'm just not going to show I don't want to show up when it's election and then, hey, vote for me, and then the next day I'm nowhere to be found, right? And so
mm.
that's what politicians do. They want to
You in
come when
the
it
next
matters
day
the
you in
most.
Africa chilling.
Yeah.
You in you in Jamaica chilling. Come back and the
Right.
whole city on fire. What?
Right, right. And so I want you to feel it. I want your kids to feel it. right? And so, how am I going to do that? It's really simple. Change the city. People in Watts are suffering. People in Crenshaw are suffering. These are the poorest of the poorest in Los Angeles, but they have a high spirit. And speaking of them, which most of them were African Americans that I've spoken to, the most amazing people that I've encountered, right, in Watts were those people that showed me around the projects, the area. They have smiles, but I know they're suffering. They say the rent's too high, everything's too expensive. Foreigners are coming in and buying the liquor stores. The Asians are running it, the Indians, and they don't even live in that area. And so I said to myself, wait a minute. When you guys have celebrations to go out to dinner, where do you guys go? They said, we go to Denny's. I said, what? Or we go to our fried restaurants, mom and pop shop, unhealthy food. I said, no way. Are you telling me that Watts doesn't even have a nice restaurant? They said, nope. We even got to go out of town. And so my thing is this: I want to eliminate that. I want to make Watts into a power city. I want to make Crenshaw into a power city. I want to make South Central into a power city. I want to change people's lives. I just don't want to show up when it's election. If I was mayor now, I would pull up in a Ferrari, grab the media's attention, and go to Watts and be like, look at this mom and pop shop. Let's put the news on there and let's get it going. And we rebuild. And I want everything to be black owned business in these areas, or Hispanic owned in these areas. And so that's where I'm coming from, right? Again, I'm a little radical, but this is who I am. I believe in these people, and these people already seen enough damage already. There's
You
kids
know,
walking. Yeah.
we get. I'm gonna just be frank with you.
Hmm.
We kind of feel, w- we think a lot of politicians are full of shit.
Hmm.
And the reason why we think they're full of shit, because as long as they get our vote and they get our energy to become that position,
Hmm.
then it's like they forget about what it took to become that. Right.
Mm.
And then there's some people who look at that and be like, well, about the seven politician I see come over here and didn't do a goddamn thing. Right? And when you say that, I want them to have the chance to make it their own. Black
Hmm.
owned, Latin owned. Now, don't get me wrong. There was a sprinkle of black folks that were getting this and getting that. My grandfather also had buildings and stuff like, you know what I mean?
Mm.
But it's just became more and more and more of them taking over of it, right? And it's not accessible to us like that. There's no one that's saying, yo, this is where you go to do what they're doing. Or this is where you go. Oh, we don't have the chance to have someone say, yo, you guys come here. Now we'll see everybody tell us, man, all these opportunities out here, and you guys not getting one. And the first thing you see come out of our mouths is like, well, where are they? Tell us. We want to know. To tell us how to go get a building for $30,000 so we can open up a mini shop. Tell us how to go get our. I gotta have good credit. Oh, okay. How do I build my credit? Right. I'm saying most people was. I mean, I'm saying like we don't know that. Most people would say, "Oh, well, your parents should have taught you." Or your parents, and you're like,
Mm.
"Well, cool. They didn't know. All right, cool. But your parents didn't know, but you know now. So what's the difference, right?" So I think what you're saying earlier, and I just kind of want to expound on that, and what you said about the ownership is very great. I think that is a very beautiful thing. I think we look forward to that. Before we go, did I forget any? Is there something that you would like to say that
Um,
that would make that would conclude this interview?
I will say this. Um, I mean, there's so much, right? We just don't have that much time. But I just want to make it short and powerful. I think the culture, the African American culture in these areas is dying, honestly, and we need to preserve that culture,
Mm,
because without them, I wouldn't be running for office, right? Without them, we wouldn't have the first, women to run for office in Los Angeles, or the first generation Asian, right? It was African Americans that went through the blood and sweat so I can go and run for office. So we need to give you guys your flowers as soon as possible. And
mm,
these politicians, they just care about your vote. They don't want to see you change or grow, because if they want to change from you, they would have done it by now, right? And so again, I want to save the culture that's dying in Los Angeles with African Americans, especially because you guys were the ones that sweat and bled the tears for me to run for office. That's my priority. I want to raise the minimum wage in Los Angeles because that's why they call it minimum, because it's minimum wage, right? We want a survival wage where people can actually live
So,
off, spend money on their family, have their own personal needs, right? And if you want to, take a break, uh, you have the right to, right? And so that comes with mental health as well. And I want to lower the rent in all Los Angeles, so people can actually live comfortable instead of sweating. What am I going to come up with the money and this and that, right? And not have money for the weekend for themselves. So those are the targets that I'm aiming right now in Los Angeles, and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna bring the best investors. I'm gonna bring the best people. We're gonna wipe out City Hall, and we're gonna bring all the youngest generation. I saw a picture of City Hall recently. It was one African American guy, and everything was either Hispanic and Asian. Look, I'm Hispanic. I love my people, but when they say diverse, it should be more than one black person. It should be five or six, seven of them, right? And so, I just, I again, I love this country, and I believe in this flag, right? And I still believe in the American dream. But I just think the American dream is dying right now, and people need help. The struggling people are needing help. A lot of businesses are closing. People are leaving Los Angeles. They're going to Florida or Texas. Taxes is too much here in LA. And so we got to change that. We have to change that for real, for real.
did I did I ask the right questions to be able to help filter out and kind of get to, the nitty gritty?
You did. Obviously we have so much topics to talk about, but that's going to take hours and hours. And I think right now what we got from this interview is the priority ones: raise the minimum wage, lower the rent, and pretty much make sure that we create a power city for LA, for artists like yourself, the Hollywood entertainers, because they also survive off jobs, restaurants, acting and stuff. So we need that as well. So
If you come up with a plan for musicians to be able to at least make a living wage, at
hmm
least 3,000 to 4,000 a month, a
hmm
living wage, I
hmm
believe you will have a million people behind you
mm
praying that you become mayor. We've never had no one to
hmm
advocate for that, not
right.
as the LA mayor.
hmm
And if you understand what that means, we have the city by the ear. We're always in everybody's faces. Everybody always contract us to their parties and their private parties. Everybody's always having us on their shows. We're always on people's shows. So imagine how effective your voice would be with a million people talking about your name and to go vote for you.
And I do want to say one more thing. I'm gonna change the stereotype in these areas that are very hit in poverty levels, right?
Mhm.
Like for Watts, again, I keep saying Watts because that city was so unique to me in so many ways. The people were so lovely, they were so special. I went to the project, they showed me love, they took care of me. They said, I'm gonna take care of you more than I take care of my own people. That's how amazing they were, right? I want to bring the largest farmers market in Watts. So when people wanted fresh foods, fresh fruits, whatever,
You
they're
gotta
not
come
going
to
to go to
watch.
Santa Monica. They're going to go to Watts. And so I want hope. I want change in these areas, and I mean it. And I want to do it. I just don't want to be that politician say, "Oh, let's do it. Election is coming." No, I promise you on everything I love. God's my witness. As soon as I win, you give me 1 week. Give me 1 week, and I'll bring the people that I need behind me. And the first city I'm going to go is Watts, and the second is
Mm,
going to be South Central, and the other
mm,
one is going to be Crenshaw. And so, mind you, these are just cities that I'm going to tackle first to just to prove people, hey, look, it's okay. You can invest in this area. You can remove the poison food that they have here, the liquor stores and everything. Or if the liquor stores want to help us, we can infuse almost like a bodega, like they have in New York. We can infuse liquor stores to bodegas and we can sell healthy food. But I want pretty much Black Wall Street back again into these communities, especially in
mm.
Watts and South Central and Crenshaw. I
Man,
want,
with that, hey man, with that and the musicians behind your back, man,
yeah,
man, Oh my God, you're gonna have so much. Look, man. I tell you that.
Save this interview because I'm telling you, you're getting the exclusive here. Like, I can be so much, I can be so even more raw, but you're getting the exclusive on my first interview because
Mm.
you're worth it, Biz. Because from what I heard about you is that you give people a platform and you give people opportunities, just like myself. That I don't have so much backing now, but you're giving me a platform where I can speak. I can pretty much explain to the axis of the world why I'm running for it. It's people like you that deserve more credit, and I appreciate it so much, and it's a blessing that you give me this opportunity. So,
Boss man, look, my job is to uplift and produce
mhm,
and sell. And those things to me kind of like is my architect. It's like who I am, right? Finding a way to be able to give humanity its reality in a beautiful form.
mhm,
And those things are not typically come by. Most people don't look at life that way.
mhm,
But I know for a fact by giving people a voice and shaping that voice that articulates their narrative in the way that they want to, not in the way that I want.
right,
And those are the things that I understand. You have to be a person of great integrity to do what's right when it's not even no one's looking, right?
mhm.
And those are the things that I look at. So I do appreciate you for that. And you know what I mean, anytime, anytime, I would love to have you on with the cast. You know what I mean? This was a special one on one with me and you, but I would love to have you on with the cast. And they wild, man. They
Yeah.
wild. They wild, man. So
I have to be a little, obviously I have so much to say, but I have to be sometimes as a politician, you got to be a little careful because
yeah.
they'll use your word against you, right? And so I just want to make sure
Hey, look,
that,
they're gonna use your word against you anyway, right? They're gonna
right.
find some type of way. They may even clip this. They when this releases, they may end up finding this and Karen
They're gonna
Bass
find
may.
my ex girlfriend from 7 years ago.
Yeah, people. I'm not gonna have any last words with you guys. I'm gonna let our potential mayor, Los Angeles mayor, have the last words with you guys. And then after he have his last word, people, thank y'all for tuning in.
I want to say this. This was a privilege. I want to say thank you for anybody that was listening here. And again, I'm going to be the best mayor you guys can. I'll be the youngest mayor to ever run for Los Angeles. And if you guys want change, I'm going to give you that change. If you really want to feel it, I'm going to give you that opportunity to feel it. And so at the end of the day, thank you guys so much for listening. And this is a big election, and I'm excited for it. And I hope you guys can vote for me and believe in some of the ideas that I am pushing. So, anyways, thank you so much. Appreciate it.